What's up, Savvy Expats? My name is Julio here, and I'm going to tell you about my 1 year experience here in BGC. So, let's get into it. When I moved here to BGC, it was really hard for me because, well, as most people will experience, I missed my friends because I used to have a lot of friends back in my country, which was Venezuela. It was kind of hard for me to begin with. When I moved here, it was a culture shock also because I saw a lot of things that I didn't expect to see, and I saw a lot of things that I find very different than Venezuela. I'll explain you more. During the beginning of my moving process to here in the Philippines, or BGC, I had a lot of culture shocks because I noticed that people were very shy here, that people are really different, that people are very closed, unlike people in Venezuela that they're very open, happy, that type of people, very noisy. That's something that really bothered me because whenever I used to behave like I did in Venezuela, people would just look at me weirdly, and they would look at me like, what the heck is this dude going on? Like, what the heck? Like, is he a crazy dude? Like, look at this foreigner. That type of thing. It was something that really took a toll on me because I had to learn to the hard way. I met a group of friends here. They didn't like my behavior, and well, we stopped hanging out, but it was because of my behavior here in the Philippines and because they were just not used to my behavior. So yeah, that's the beginning of it. Moving on, I started riding taxis, transportation, stuff like that, and honestly, as a foreigner, of course, the taxi drivers or motorcycle taxi, those transportation services, they see a white foreigner here, they immediately think that I have money, which is not true because, well, I don't come from a very rich family. So, but they always charge me extra. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to travel 1 or 2 kilometers in a taxi. They would charge me 200 pesos, 250 pesos, that type of things and problems that I have to deal with every single day. Not during the beginning of it, every single day. But now that I know how the taximeter rates are here in the Philippines, I learned and I know what to do whenever I deal with those type of problems. What the hell? Okay. Besides all of those problems, transportation here in the Philippines is, in my opinion, it's quite good. It's quite good. It's easy to use. It's very convenient to use. Yeah, it's easy to get to taxi services, to bus services, to motorcycle services, all of those type of things. Especially online, where you have the Grab app or the Ancas app or Joyride apps. Yeah, it's really easy to use. It's really easy to find transportation here in the Philippines. But besides that, besides all those culture shocks and transportation problems, and also a lot of people, when I adapted to the culture here in the Philippines, I found out that people, when they open up more, when they trust you, they're really nice people. They're really good friends. The Filipinos here are very fun to hang around with. They're very funny, they're very joyful. It's an amazing experience when you get to have true friends here in the Philippines. Another thing that I also noticed that's actually really similar to Venezuela was that here in the Philippines it's very hot, so hot. But the difference between here in the Philippines and Venezuela is that Philippines is an island, Venezuela is not. So, oh my gosh, everyone, look behind you. It's Spider-Man! The Philippines is an island and Venezuela is not an island. Both are hot during the summer times, but the Philippines is humid. Philippines is very humid here. Whenever you go around, your skin and sweat a lot. In the end, since you see that you sweat a lot because of the humidity levels here in the Philippines, you feel very sticky after 15 minutes going outside. That you start to notice how sticky your skin feels, and that's something that I really dislike. But I'm just used to it. I'm used to it because I used to, yeah. So guys, enough about me. Now I'll explain to you something that you need to watch out as a foreigner here in the Philippines or as an expat. Being a foreigner here in the Philippines is very interesting because you get to have a lot of experiences here, especially after living here for 1 year, more than 1 year now. It's very tough to deal with sometimes, unless you went to other countries and you know how it is. There are three main things to be aware about here in the Philippines. Number one is foreigner tax. Number two is transportation problems. And number three, prices here in the Philippines. So number one, foreigner tax. Foreigner tax here in the Philippines, it hits you a lot as a foreigner, no pun intended. It hits you a lot because you feel like you're being taken advantage of. So for example, if for a 1 kilogram of beef costs you like 500 pesos, to you as a foreigner, it will cost you around 800, 1,000 pesos. That's the problem. That's the type of problem here in the Philippines. And you'll find that anywhere around the Philippines. No matter where you go, people will just charge you extra, especially the locals. And it's something that if you know what the set price, what the price actually is, you're good to go. But if you don't, then you're in a lot of trouble, buddy. So I recommend you guys to do some research, to talk to some Filipinos who can share to you guys how it is. Talk to your, if you guys have any Filipino friends, talk to them, asking them what an estimated price of what something would cost here. That's something that you guys should do. Research and talk to the locals here who can actually tell you. Moving on to the second part is transportation problems. The taxi drivers and motorcycle taxi drivers, or a regular driver, a Grab driver even, they'll ask you much more than expected because of your looks. And as I said, it has to relate a lot to the foreigner tax also, just because of your looks, guys. So the transportation problems about that, the taxi drivers don't want to use the taximeter rate because they'll make up excuses that no, because there's a lot of traffic, sir, or no, because there's gasoline prices are high. And yeah, that's true, it is. Those two problems are true, but that doesn't give them the excuse to charge you extra, double or triple, or maybe even quadruple. It's in rare cases just because of their excuses and because of their greed. So that's the second problem here that I experienced personally, and that you expats might experience here in the Philippines also. The third thing here, guys, the third on the list is the high prices here in the Philippines. The Philippines might cost more than you expats might expect here. Why do I mention that? Well, because before coming here into the Philippines, I myself, as well as my family, we thought that the Philippines was very cheap, and that everyone said, oh no, Philippine prices, they're very cheap. A full meal might cost you around, I don't know, like 175 pesos, that type of thing. We expected something like that, but no, a full meal here costs like 200 pesos, 300, even 400 if you go to certain areas. So the Philippines is promoted as a very cheap country. In my opinion, I think it's not, but in other people's opinions, they say it is. And I got to the conclusion that it depends on where you live in the Philippines. So let's say, for example, you live in the provinces, like Dumaguete, Cavite, or Batangas. Those provinces, they might give you a cheaper price because it's aparted from the main area, and locals don't really gain much, so the people have to adjust to the prices of what locals can afford. But if you live in areas like Taguig City, or in other words BGC, Bonifacio Global City, or you live in Makati, or you live in Quezon City, prices might elevate much more than expected. It's a normal thing because, well, it happens in every country, guys. The conclusion is that it just really depends on where you live. Okay, so for last question, guys, is do I regret moving to the Philippines? And the answer is in there or no. Why? Well, because I think in the Philippines, although it has its up and downs, I think if you have enough money to move here, and if you know what to do, where to move, and who to treat, then I think the Philippines is a really great area to live in, because it's got beautiful beaches, it's got beautiful weather, especially at this time of the year, which is Christmas. The Philippines is honestly really amazing. People are friendly and nice if you meet the right people. For you male expats, the girls are pretty too even. Yeah, that's pretty much of it. Philippines is not for everyone, honestly, but if you're an adventurous type of person, then you should definitely move to the Philippines. So guys, see you on the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe, and God bless.